J.K. Rowling struggled before Harry Potter learned English through her story. There was once a woman named Joanne Rowling, though the world knows her today as J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter. But before she wrote about magic, she lived through some of the hardest and darkest days a person can face. Joanne was born in England. As a little girl, she loved stories more than anything else. She read fairy tales, adventures, and mysteries. At 6 years old, she wrote her first story about a rabbit who got measles. At 11, she wrote her first novel about 7 cursed diamonds. She dreamed of becoming a writer one day, but she was shy and unsure of herself. Her childhood was not always easy. Her mother became very sick with a disease called multiple sclerosis, which slowly weakened her body. Joanne loved her mother deeply and wanted to make her proud. She often sat by her mother's side, telling her little stories to bring a smile. Inside, she wished she could create a magical world where sickness could not hurt the people we love. As she grew older, Joanne went to university. She studied French and classics because she loved languages, but her heart still whispered, "Be a writer, don't give up." After graduation, she worked at different jobs, secretary, teacher, researcher, but she was not happy. Her mind always drifted to stories, and she sometimes got in trouble at work for daydreaming. Then one ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. She was traveling by train from Manchester to London. The train was delayed for 4 long hours. As she sat looking out the window, a picture appeared in her mind, a boy with messy black hair, glasses, and a lightning scar on his forehead. He didn't know it yet, but he was a wizard. His name was Harry Potter. The idea came so suddenly and so clearly that Joanne felt her heart race. She had no pen, no paper, so she simply sat still, dreaming. She imagined a magical school, a castle full of secrets, children learning spells, and battles between good and evil. When she finally stepped off the train, she knew her life had changed. She had found her story. But life had more trials waiting for her. Only a few months later, Joanne's beloved mother passed away. Joanne was devastated. She had never told her mother about Harry Potter. She never got to share her dream. The pain cut deep, and for a long time Joanne felt lost. Trying to escape her grief, she moved to Portugal to teach English. There she met a man, fell in love, and got married. Soon she gave birth to a baby girl, Jessica. For a moment she thought her life was turning around, but the marriage turned unhappy and ended quickly. Alone and broken, Joanne returned to England with her baby in her arms. Those were the darkest days of her life. She had almost no money, no job, and no support. She lived in a small, cold apartment. Sometimes she couldn't afford to heat the rooms. She depended on welfare, government help for poor families. She felt like a failure, jobless, divorced, with a baby to raise alone. In her own words, "I was the biggest failure I knew." She even thought about giving up on life. But one small flame still burned inside her, the story of Harry Potter. Every day she pushed her daughter's stroller to cafes. While Jessica slept beside her, Joanne wrote. She ordered 1 coffee and stayed for hours, scribbling words on scraps of paper. Sometimes the cafe workers frowned. Sometimes people stared. But she kept writing. Harry, Hermione, Ron, Hogwarts, they all grew stronger in her mind. One afternoon, a waitress tapped her shoulder and said, "You've been here for hours, miss. Will you order anything else?" Joanne looked at her half-empty cup and smiled nervously. No, just this. Thank you. The waitress sighed and walked away. Joanne bent over her notebook again. One day, she whispered, these pages will mean something. At last, she finished the book. Excited and nervous, she sent the manuscript to publishers. And then the rejection letters began to arrive, one after another. 12 publishers rejected her. Thank you for your submission, but we do not feel this fits our list. We are not interested at this time. Not suitable for our audience. Each rejection felt like a knife, she cried. She doubted herself. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe no one will ever care about this story. One night, holding her baby close, she whispered, Jessica, maybe I am just a fool. Maybe I should stop. The baby yawned and closed her eyes. Joanne kissed her forehead. But I can't. I just can't. On the 13th try, something different happened. A small publisher named Bloomsbury responded. They invited her in for a meeting. Joanne sat nervously in the office, clutching her worn-out manuscript. The editor, Barry Cunningham, looked kind but serious. I like your story, he said finally. It's clever. Children will enjoy it, but... He paused. Don't quit your day job. Children's books don't usually make money. Joanne nodded, her cheeks burning. But inside, she thought, at least someone believes in Harry. They offered her a small advance, £1,500, not enough to change her life, but enough to keep going. The book was printed in just 500 copies, many of them sent to libraries. And then the magic began. Children started reading. Teachers recommended it. Parents noticed their children laughing and gasping at bedtime, lost in the adventures of a boy wizard. Word spread like fire in dry grass. Soon the phone began to ring. More copies, more interest. More readers, a second print run, then a third, then awards. Then translations into other languages. One day Joanne received a call. A publisher in the United States had bought the rights. They even wanted to change the title slightly to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. She agreed. She could hardly believe it. Her story was crossing oceans. At home, she sat on the floor and wept. Mom, she whispered into the silence, I wish you could see this. I wish you could know. From then, her life transformed. Each new Harry Potter book sold millions of copies. Bookstores filled with children dressed in robes and glasses, waiting at midnight for the newest release. Reporters wanted interviews. Hollywood wanted films. The poor single mother on welfare became the most famous author in the world. But Joanne never forgot the cold apartments, the rejection letters, the lonely nights in cafes. In speeches, she often told people, failure is not fun, but failure gave me strength. Rock bottom became the foundation on which I rebuilt my life. She explained how rejection taught her resilience, how pain taught her empathy, and how poverty taught her gratitude. And yet, she also said this, I had one thing I refused to give up: my story. When everything else fell apart, I still had Harry. Her journey is not only about magic, it is about human courage. She showed the world that dreams are not destroyed by failure, they are tested by it. And if you keep going, if you refuse to stop, even the smallest flame can light up the darkest room. Today, readers around the globe know her name. Children who once hated reading discovered joy through her pages. Millions learned English or fell in love with stories because of Harry Potter. And yet, Joanne still remembers the girl she was, scared, uncertain, but stubborn enough to keep writing. So if you're listening to her story today, remember this. You may feel like giving up. You may feel poor, rejected, or lost. But hold on, keep learning, keep working, keep believing. Because just like J.K. Rowling, your greatest success may be waiting on the other side of your darkest night. And maybe, just maybe, your story will change the world.